Are you feeling unmotivated? Well, so are we. And you're in luck because today's episode, we're going to be talking about feeling unmotivated, what it means, why it happens, how to fix it, and everything else you could ever want to know about motivation.
Or we'll
This
just
is the
bitch about it.
existential. Yeah, exactly. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Yeah, so this is an appropriate topic because I'm feeling totally unmotivated.
Dude, oh my God. I feel like this year has been like my motivation was like up here and it's just been like this all year. Like just a steady slide into zero. I don't understand why. It's just been one of those fucking years, man. Like it's just ugh. Yeah.
I know. I was gonna say the same thing. Like this year turned from like just a pretty bad beginning of the year to just like it's just dragging on and on and on. And I'm just trying to get through the darn thing.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that like, next year will be better.
Yeah, I don't know. And like the worst part was going into it, I felt so good about it. And I
Hmm.
think that really
Oh, I
killed
was
me
totally
too.
optimistic going
I
into
was
this
so
year.
optimistic going into this year, and then it's just nothing. I don't know. It's just hard. And
I
then
don't want to blame AI, but
ah, it's a catch
uh,
22 because like I feel like it's both been good and bad, and I do blame it a little
yeah.
for it. Yeah, but like I also been thinking too, like a lot, like the existentials, like with like that concept of like dread and anxiety with choice.
Mm.
I know if we're radically free, right? Everything's our responsibility for who we are, which makes sense, right? It's my life, only I can live it. But, there's that fear that comes with, or that dread, like with choosing, because it's like you can only choose one thing, right? You can't do everything. And
And
it's
then
like
when
that
something
fear.
happens, you're responsible for it because
Well,
you made the
yeah,
choice.
exactly. And it's like, and it's hard because, like, yes, it's all under your control, but it's also true that, like, we live in a world. So there's also a lot of other factors that influence, whether our choices work out, things like that, that are out of our control. And it's really hard a lot of times too to keep that distinction clear and
Hmm.
recognize like and it's also even if you do realize that something's not in your control, it's okay. That's one thing to say that, but it's still frustrating when it's
Hmm.
affecting your life, right? So I think that's also a huge part of it too. And just get it like demotivates you over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating because it's like when you're not motivated, it feels like time slows down.
Yeah.
It's like you have all the time in the world when you're not motivated and feeling like garbage. But then once things start going good, then there's not enough time in the day. And it's like
Yeah.
it would be nice if they could flip-flop it, where you
Well,
have all the time in the world where things are going well, and then when you're not
yeah.
feeling great, it was just very fast.
Yeah. Our perception of time sucks, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
It's like the reverse of what you would want.
Hmm.
Always. Yeah,
Always.
I don't know, it's tough too, because it's like you work towards something and like you want the outcome that you can envision to happen. But you obviously everybody wants it to happen now. Like we always want things fast. But it's like you
Hmm.
don't know when that's gonna happen. So it's also hard too, because it's like you feel like you're in like a waiting game sometimes too, and it's like then I don't know if I should do something else. And it's like, but then you're making these choices that are gonna commit you to something else entirely. It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough
It
figuring
is a
out.
tough one. Yeah, and it's one of those things where like looking back, you could just be like, yeah, just have faith.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It'll all turn out okay. But in the middle of it is really difficult.
Well, because you don't know if it's gonna turn out okay.
Hmm.
It
Right.
still
Yeah,
might
exactly.
not.
Exactly. And so like the other thing that I was thinking of this week, which is kind of interesting, is like we both agree this has been kind of a garbage year for us. But like I look back on it, it seems like there's kind of like these patterns throughout life where I'll have like a good year, a bad year, and then some years in the middle. And it's like, well, on average, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
5 years or whatever, you have a good year, you have a bad year, and then you have 3 years that are kind of like average. And it's just like, okay, fine. This is just a bad year, and I got to get through this. And yeah.
yeah. I wonder how much of it too is like our expectations are so screwed up from like all the stupid movies and stuff we watch as children, even as adults, right? Where everything always works out at the end. It's a wrapped up story in a very short time, and like
Hmm.
we internalize that stuff. So I always wonder how much of it too is like we have a skewed perception of like what should happen versus like reality, or like what our expectations are versus reality. And like, because yeah, obviously, like, not every year is going to be the best year you've ever had, right? There's going to be
Hmm.
ups and downs always throughout life, but we always expect things to get better or want things to get better. And then when they don't, it's like hard to keep, doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Plus, for so long, I mean, up until probably 50 years ago, life was just a struggle to survive, to
Yeah.
get enough food. Like that was it. Like if you had enough food, you're good. You had a
Yeah.
place to sleep, you had food, you had water, you were good. But like now it's all that stuff comes as almost without thinking about it, and it makes yeah, it makes for the whole existential question of life.
Well, it makes it hard. Yeah, it does. To kind of figure out
Hmm
like what we should be doing. What do you
hmm
do in time? Because like this is always tough for me too. Because like whenever I feel like really unmotivated, I always struggle at first to decide like if it's. 'Cause sometimes I'm like burnout or like I just need a break to like figure things out and then like it'll be fine. And usually it is,
hmm
you know. The break's the hard part though, usually in that, right?
hmm
But other times it's like hard to tell because like that's the other thing is like there's the unknowns. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't have a lot of control over externals, so that's kind of out of the question. So it's like it's hard to know too, like what how I'm gonna look at this later, right? Because that's gonna be dependent upon what happens also. Like how you interpret this event after the fact.
Well, it's a really difficult one because you don't know like when these things come up. Is it something where you just need to hold on and go through, or is it something where you need to change course? And there's no real answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's the
it's
scary part, right? That's
challenging.
the dread, right? It's
Hmm
like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah,
And yeah,
and the worst part is like all these people on social media make it seem like it's a very easy decision, and it's just like just grind, you know? Like if you don't know your life's purpose, there's something wrong with you. Just figure it out. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if it's that clear for everyone all the time. I think you're probably just like a sociopath or something.
well, they make, I know, I hate the self-help industry, I think, has gotten very, it gets very like toxic because it's
Hmm
also just, it's so much like bullshit too. Because it's like, this thing worked for one person. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody, first of all. And
hmm
second of all, like, yeah, like just yelling at people to like figure out what they want and just saying that doesn't mean that they're going to figure out or know what to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Plus you look at these people, like for instance, Tony Robbins or something like that. He has a huge following, and he makes it seem like, you know, life is great, and if it's not great, you just turn it around and you get it great. But it's like it's
Yeah.
definitely not that easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, because you're also a person living through it.
hmm
Like,
Yeah.
and dealing with it. It's like it's never that easy. I know they always make it
hmm
out to be like it's a simple fix because that's how they sell it, right? And that's the
Well,
problem.
yeah, it's like
Because
the
we all
Wizard of
want
Oz.
that.
They're just hiding behind this huge curtain because if people knew, it would ruin the image.
Good reference. Yeah,
Hmm
it's like it's hard to well that's just it though too, right? It's like it's all marketing on their end. So they're selling you
hmm
like this story, this idea, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's like, it's like all those books of like, gain a habit in 24 hours. Like you're not going to do that. Like, yeah, you'll practice something, but you're not going to develop it.
I kind of think about this a lot recently because like now nowadays I run into people all the time who are just like, yeah, you just gotta like change. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I've done a whole bunch of tweaks and stuff throughout my life, but really who I am hasn't changed essentially ever. And it's like, can you actually change? Is that something that's possible?
Well, I see. I would think of it like ideally we get to know ourselves more.
Yeah, it's like
And
more of self-acceptance
well,
as
that's what I
opposed to
mean.
actually
Yeah.
changing who you
Well, because
are.
like I think like that's authenticity, right? Is like knowing yourself and creating yourself, right? So like I think as we get older, if we're lucky, like we get an opportunity to know ourselves more. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think like your core person, like I don't think it's hard to change. Like, you can change, I think, some things. But like you said, like those are like tweaks. Sometimes they're pretty major, so that it looks very different. But I still think the person there is probably still pretty much the same person. Yeah.
Hmm
Yeah. How the hell can you change that? I mean, that's so many things. Like I'm
But that's
sure.
what all these self-help
Yeah.
things do. They're like, read the book, follow the steps, and you'll be a changed person forever.
Well, and it's funny too, because there are things that can like, I mean, I've had instances where like changing your perspective on something can totally help you rethink it and see it really differently, right? And like it can be
Hmm
like an epiphany moment. And I think, but they act like everything's like that, and it's not.
Well, but okay, so like that's one thing where you're changing your thinking about things,
Yeah, but
but
not
you're not
yourself.
actually changing who you
Yeah.
are. You're not changing the situation. You're
No,
just
you're
changing
changing
the
your
interpretation of
interpretation.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's where
So,
we have the power to change, right? So we can change
Mhm.
like while I can't change like my core self, I can change like how I interpret myself or how I see the world or how I look at a specific thing. That's doable. But even changing your thinking isn't as like it's easy like you can have that epiphany moment where you're like, wow, that really helped. But then it takes effort to actually like change your beliefs to actually fit that new way of thinking. That takes time. So like yeah, it does. It all takes a lot of effort too. Life's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes it just feels, and yeah, I guess like now I'll talk personally, like I feel totally unmotivated. And
Yeah.
like I still keep up some practices that it's like, yeah, because I keep up some practices because even though I'm not motivated to do them, I know that doing them helps me become the type of person I want to be. But
Yeah.
other than that, I just am kind of giving myself a bit of space to just be like, whatever.
That's what I've been doing
It's
too,
okay. It's
actually.
okay to feel unmotivated.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was getting so angry with myself, I realized that that was the only other solution to the problem.
Hmm.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you too, because it is. It's like I do keep up certain practices just because, like, they also, I do notice, like, there's been plenty of times where, like, I've lost motivation, I felt depressed or down, but then my regular routine pulls me out of it. So, like,
Hmm.
I don't want to lose that either, because, like, just there's, like, something about having that and, like, you feel good about doing like getting those things done or whatever, like that helps. So like I don't want to lose that, but yeah, I've been giving myself space too because it is just one of those things where it's just I need to figure stuff out apparently, and that's gonna take time and go from there. Even though I want it
Hmm.
all to be now because it would be much nicer if it was now, but
Yeah, but then, well, it's like a blessing and a curse because if you had it now, then afterwards would suck. It's like what Marcus Aurelius says, after fame comes oblivion. If you get
yeah,
everything you want now, then you don't live happily ever after. Because
no.
then you look back and you'll be like, oh, it already passed. Now what is there? Yeah.
Yeah, there is that too, yeah. I mean, life's challenging, right? Because it's like no matter what we have, there's always going to be stuff we identify that could be better. There's always going
Yeah.
to, I mean, because that's really all we're all trying to do. We're all trying to improve our situation. And I think even that idea of like that perpetual progress is ridiculous because it's like hard to maintain that.
Oh
And
yeah,
then there's going to be
definitely.
lulls too. When you're trying to make big changes, it's going to take longer. So keep reminding yourself that too. It's hard. Also, I
Hmm.
think too, it's tough right now. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I feel bad for people that are graduating colleges right now because like last May and stuff, like the job market's terrible.
There's
Like
no jobs.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very hard to like figure out what you're doing and like how to make life work.
And
Like
dude, it's especially difficult to be like saddled with crazy debt that you
well,
can't
dude,
even see
get this.
a
I was
way
just
out of.
listening to thing. There's this researcher, listen to a talk on NPR about him, but he researches like sociology and stuff like that. And one of the things he focuses on is like how well children do versus their parents. And like during the baby boom, like after World War II, he said not it was over 92% of the kids by the time they were 30 were doing better than their parents were, right? So that's 92%. That means almost
Yeah,
everybody.
nowadays
Almost
92% are
everybody.
still living with their
Well, I
parents.
was gonna say,
And
so almost
then
everybody, right, without thinking
yeah.
about it, even doing basically nothing, you're gonna do better than your parents were by the time you're
Hmm.
30. Now it's less than 50%.
Yeah.
Which is like ridiculous if you think about that. That means like you
Hmm.
have a 50-50 chance. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
Not to mention their parents are probably still in the workforce
Yeah, well, that's
and
the other thing,
nobody
right?
retires anymore.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
And I think
it's
I
crazy.
think with computers, right? I mean, really, like, it's only been what, like, arguably, it's only been about 30 years that
Hmm.
they've been mainstream. Because I think I can remember it was like early 90s. I remember my first
Windows
friend that got
95.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember my first friend that got one though, because I'll never forget. Like he went on, he was like, "Check out this chat thing online," and it was like
Yeah.
you sent a message, and it was like 30 minutes later,
Yeah.
some random person message back. I was like, "Dude, this is
Yep.
boring." Like, but yeah, but I remember that very clearly. But yeah, so it's like I think we've just also there's been like a lot of really really crazy changes that like we haven't really adjusted to yet. So that's also, as a
Hmm.
society, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, motivation sucks, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely does. But yeah, if you're feeling unmotivated, that's okay. It'll pass.
We are too.
Well, it's okay. So here's the one I think
It does
tip that you
pass.
could get from self-help books is that motivation you don't get motivated and then act. You always have to act and then the motivation follows.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
so like I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, why do people go to work? Why do they do all that stuff? And most of the time it's just for money. Like that's their motivation, just to make their money, and that's why they go to work. That's why they do these jobs. And but it's like in The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, he talks about how success is not, having a lot of money or anything. It's just the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And but this is something that's helped me in this time of uh low motivation, is like those are the things that I continue to do, is the things that help me progressively realize a worthy ideal.
Oh, I gotcha.
So
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like those actions that get me to that worthy ideal that I want, even though I'm not feeling motivated to do them right now, I just do them anyways because, it's like action precedes motivation. And I just figure if I keep on acting, eventually motivation will come back, or,
Yeah, yeah. There's things like
something.
work on your character, stuff like that, that are just
Hmm.
beneficial anyway. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's funny. It's like, it's like if you have like I always find this, which is interesting. Like if you have like a project that you're working on and you really enjoy, some or like whatever, some work you really love doing, waking up's like really easy.
Hmm.
Because you're like excited to go do it, right? Even when it's hard, it's still fun to do. And I
Hmm.
think like it's that's tough because when you lose that, then it's like, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
find that again. And that's the
I
hard part. You
I
know what I
agree
mean?
with you. I just had a thought that just made me shake my
Yeah,
head.
that's all
Yeah, I
right.
agree because I can't even tell you how many books just reference flow by Mihail Csikszentmihalyi, whatever his name is. And
Yeah.
every time it happens, I just shake my head because it's like yeah, sure, he did research and he wrote a book about it, but I read the book and I did not get anything more from the book than I could have gotten from the title. Like flow is that state where things are easy, like
Yeah, no, it's
simple.
stupid. I know.
Bingo.
They made
But
it
like
200 pages for no reason.
everybody everybody cites that book and everybody has to explain the flow state like as if you don't freaking know what it is already. And it's just like and they make it seem like this is some state that you can choose to enter. But it's like
No.
if you could choose to enter it, then just go enter it. You can't. It's just one of these like byproducts of acting in the right place, the right time with the right effort. And
Yeah.
eventually you're in it, and generally, when you're in it, you don't even recognize it because
No.
if you probably if you recognize you were in the flow state, it would knock you back out of it.
Yeah,
You'd be
dude, because
thinking
when you're
about it
in
too
it, it's
much.
like that's when like time passes really fast and stuff, and you're just
Hmm.
like engaged in something fully. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can't force that. I don't think it's
Hmm.
hard. Yeah.
But I was
And
listening to something today, and it talked about that, and I just shut it off, and I was like, "This is
yeah.
garbage. Forget
Dude,
it. I
I
can't."
know what you mean. It's just one of those buzzwords that's going around now. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is tough because I think when you lose that, that's where it gets hard too, because it's like you go from, I think, trying to find that again, and it can be really difficult too.
Hmm.
Yeah. But just
Yeah. I
time is
read
good.
there was some quote that I saw. I think it was by like Henry Ford or Lincoln or one of these old guys, the industrialists, basically.
Yeah.
And they were saying like everybody's looking for opportunity, but they don't recognize it's dressed in overalls and requires hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we want the easy fix, right? But even
Hmm.
that, I agree. I mean, I have no problem doing work, and I think that's the thing that sucks too, is it's like trying to figure out where to best. And I think that's really what my problem is right now, and this is usually the case with motivation for me, is like it's usually like I'm just at a crossroads of what I want to do, and I need to figure
You know
that
what I
out.
just heard?
But
Maybe you're trying to be a perfectionist about this. You're trying to find the best solution as opposed to just a good solution. Like, you know how everybody
no,
wants
I
to be
would.
like
Oh yeah,
a
no, I would
good,
accept
like,
most of the solutions. I think it's just more
oh,
like,
okay.
no, I know what you mean though. Yeah, yeah. No, I was speaking just in broad terms. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know how
Nobody's
like
saying,
everybody nowadays wants to be like a good mom or a
yeah,
good
yeah,
pet parent or a good this or a good that. Whereas like back in the day, you were just a mom or you were a
yeah.
dog owner or like something
Dude,
like that.
well, yeah, I know when
So,
we got the puppies like 4 years ago, I remember looking on it and like every video online on YouTube was like perfection. I'm like, dude, I don't want my dog to be like that. That's like a statue. It's not a dog.
hmm. Yeah,
Like finding the balance, yeah, is important.
seriously.
No, but I think it's just hard. Like, I think, I don't know, I've been giving myself time to just do other things to kind of figure out, like, because sometimes that helps, I think, too, is changing my focus to other stuff can be beneficial, helps you
Yeah,
see things
stepping
differently.
back.
Yeah,
Hocus pocus, change your focus.
damn right.
There was some there was some like law of attraction meetup group that I used to go to, and the dude would always say that. And anytime
Really?
somebody says change your focus, I always just hear hocus pocus,
I
change your focus.
actually like that though.
Yeah,
Sounds like you're a magician. It is
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
magical though. It can really change. change your perspective
Uh,
and interpretation is incredible.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think
absolutely.
I vote for step back though, and yeah,
Well, that I think that's probably a decent answer is when you're feeling unmotivated, stop resisting it.
yeah.
It's
I
just
think well,
part
you
of
know
the
what it is too,
cycle.
because I think sometimes like it's like no, I think that is a good solution because I think if you stop resisting it, generally I think if it's just a problem of like whatever, burnout or just like you just aren't sure what to do or you just need to answer some question or whatever, like that will resolve itself. If it's another issue of like signs of like maybe depression or something that's forming, that will also show itself. So one way or
Hmm.
another, if it like, and I think that's like, because that's what I try to focus on now is like when I do give myself space is like to also pay attention to myself that like to know that like is this something where like space is a good thing and this is like I can just go with this, or is this something where this is also becoming detrimental because I'm
Hmm.
just getting, more
Yeah,
down.
talking about signs of depression, good reminder, November is coming up, so that time of
Yeah,
year. 'Tis the
also
season
could be
once
it, yeah.
again for seasonal affective
I don't
disorder
think
and
it's
depression.
seasonal though because I feel like I felt like this wave of like this was
It's
summer
just this
too.
whole year.
No,
Yeah,
really
this
though,
whole year is just depression year.
it's
Yeah.
been like building and I think it's just finally caught up to me. So I don't think it's that, but I do think that's a good point though
Ooh.
because it could be.
Well, maybe now you can ride the wave like a boogie boarder or something
Yeah,
because it's
right.
just been like coming and then all of a sudden now it's
That's
here.
how I've
So
been
yeah.
thinking about it, right? Just ride the wave into
Mm,
2026.
bingo. That would be cool. I can't wait for things to improve. Yeah.
Right? It would be nice.
Yep. But anyways, thanks for joining us today for this exploration of feeling unmotivated, what to do, what not to do, and why self-help is garbage and all that other stuff. The most likely people to buy a self-help book are the people who bought a self-help book in the last few months.
Makes sense.
So yeah, it makes sense. So it's kind of like the newest addiction craze, you could say.
Well, they give you that
And
dopamine hit too, though, usually, those books, right? Because they have one simple thing you do, it feels great, and then as soon as you stop reading the book, you forget about it.
mhm, bingo. So that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us, all of our friends and listeners out there. We'll catch you next time. Until next time, I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Andy.